right, boys, we're back, and our team is pretty much on autopilot. 19-6-4. We didn't tinkle with the team too much. I was asking you guys maybe make a trade at the trade deadline, but I really don't think it's needed. We are a good team. We're 19-6-4. We're third in the NHL. We're second in the East. 42 points. All of our, like a bunch of our players, especially in the first two lines, are in the scoring lead, whether it be goals, Lupul and Giroux, assists, Getzlaff and Richards, points, Getzlaff. Giroux, all right, everyone's up there except for Reimer. He's not the greatest goalie yet, but it doesn't matter when you're getting goals from what top six players. So I think what we're gonna do is just simulate all the way to the trade deadline here because we are on autopilot. We'll go to the fourth right here. Maybe if we string some losses together, maybe I'll rethink that trade idea, but I really don't think it's gonna have to happen. All right, we're in autopilot. And because we're doing a regular season simulation here where I don't have to mess with it too much because our team is in place, let's talk a little bit about the real NHL. And I've been getting questions, hang on, Scout. I've been getting questions about all the trade rumors about the Toronto Maple Leafs. My God. You know what? First of all, every year there are so many trade rumors for the Toronto Maple Leafs, okay? When hockey is your most important sport and everyone talks about it, they'll and oh, you know what? I can't even explain myself. You Leaf fans know every time around trade deadline this happens. So anything you hear, it's bullshit. All right, it's absolute bullshit. Yeah, it might have some truth to it, and people will say, "Oh yeah, I knew." Well, you also knew the seven other things that didn't happen, right? So it's all up in the air. The Luke Shen for James Van Riemsdyk, that was floating around a lot, but I don't know. I don't think you trade Luke Shen. I mean, Luke Shen, he's not a point producer. He's never supposed to be a point producer. He's a defensive defenseman, okay? Hang on, Kyle Clifford. No, I don't need him. And he's 22 years old. Defensemen get better, especially defensive defensemen. They get a lot better in their 30s. Like look at Nicholas Lidstrom. He's still kicking at 42. So you telling me Luke Shen's got 20 years ahead of him? You can't trade him for a forward. I'm sorry, you cannot trade away Luke Shen. And oh my God, putting some losses together here. 2013-5. See, what did I say? Thank God for all those early wins, though. We'll jump out of it. Well, don't worry, we'll jump out of it. It's a trade rumor, and the Ryan Getzlaff trade, yeah, that's a rumor as well. But honestly, guys, to get Ryan Getzlaff in real life, we're gonna have to trade away like a first, Nazem Kadri and Jake Gardner, something like that. You know what I mean? It's not worth it unless Brian Burke can work his magic and really get him for a steal. Yeah, of course, go for it. But man, Ryan Getzlaff is a superstar. That's going to be a lot to get Ryan Getzlaff. Another trade that has also come up recently is because our goaltender situation is kind of falling apart. James Reimer's kind of been slow ever since his concussion, and Gustafsson has actually been playing good, but I wonder how long that's going to last for. But Ryan Miller, because Ryan Miller, his name has come up in the trade talks, and he's 31 years old. It'd be perfect for the Toronto Maple Leafs. I mean, I don't think Buffalo's going to trade Ryan Miller to a team in their division because that just sets up the perfect comeback story, right? So I don't think it's going to happen with Toronto. But they've been talking about Ryan Miller being traded because he's same thing as Camilleri. He's talking about his team. He's not talking necessarily bad about his team, but you can just tell in his body language how he says things. He's depressed. He's frustrated. Depressed. I'm not depressed. He's frustrated. He's angry. He said that he hasn't asked for a trade. He'll never ask for a trade. I'm sure he won't because he seems like a stand-up kind of guy. But he's also a vocal guy. And you know what? If the team doesn't want him, they also have Jonas Enroth in place. But, I mean, I'm sure there's a trade. Let's say they weren't going to trade. Let's say they didn't mind trading Ryan Miller to the Toronto Maple Leafs because of the rivalry in the conference. Say they didn't care about that. I could see something like Ryan Miller for either Reimer or Gustafsson, whatever's more valuable to the Buffalo Sabres, right? It would have to be Reimer or Gustafsson, and then one of our defensemen, say it would have to be Gardner, Komisarek, who else? You can't maybe Cody Franzen, but actually Cody Franzen's grown on me. He's a big boy and he can only get better as well. So you can't trade Franzen, you can't trade Phaneuf, you can't trade Shen. So who does that leave? Komisarek, you can't trade Lyles. Maybe you can trade Lyles, but I like Lyles as well. So maybe Komisarek, Gunnarsson, Gardner. Gardner's going to be a young prospect. So for Miller, you're going to have to get like Reimer, a defenseman that I named, a draft pick, and maybe Kadri or maybe a forward like Fratton. So it's going to be a lot. That's the thing about the Leafs. We're going to have to give up a lot to get a superstar. And that's been the problem in the past. We give up players and like players that are not over the hill, but they're going to be over the hill soon, and they get one more injury or something like that, and then their career is over, and we give up the prospects. So I don't know if it's a good move to necessarily go out and get a superstar of age if it's going to cost like two of our prospects and a draft pick. I don't think that's worth it. But if we can get something for maybe a Komisarek or maybe a Franzen, I'm willing to trade Franzen if it's something amazing. But that's only if. Komisarek, I'd be willing to trade. That's the thing. It's the Leafs, maybe Grabowski or Connolly if we're getting another center back, right? But the trade rumors, boys, that's all they are. They're just rumors, all right? Take them for what they are. You'll hear 10 rumors. Maybe one of them are true, but you can't tell which one is true. The only man who knows what's going on is Brian Burke, all right? So I have no idea with the rumors. They're fun to think of and fun, like I've been talking about the Ryan Miller when that's there's no truth to that, boys. I'm just speculating. I am just speculating. I'm just talking about what I've heard in the media, right? But it has no truth to it. It'd be nice, but right, we're gonna see. We're gonna see what happens. I don't think the Leafs are gonna make like we the only way we can make big trades is if we give up a lot. I don't think it's gonna happen. I don't think we're gonna give up a lot. Maybe a little trade here or there, but I don't see us giving up a lot. But we'll see. We'll see what Brian Burke does. The guy's crazy. That's why I love him. We'll see. Hopefully he can shake things up. We got to make the playoffs this year. We got to make the playoffs this year. But you know what? I'm focusing too much on real life. We got to make the playoffs here in our GMO commentary. Look at this. 33, 25, and 8. If you add up the overtime losses with the regulation losses, that's 33 and 33. So we have fallen off just a little bit here. What the hell's going on? Goals against average. Yeah, James Reimer's not up there, so I think it might be James Reimer that's the problem. Save percentage, yeah, he's not up there. Yeah, so it's definitely James Reimer's getting the wins, but we know why that is. Points, Getzlaf and Giroux, so they're still up there, so we're still getting goals. That's not a problem. Assists, Getzlaf is up there, yeah. Goals, Giroux is up there. So it looks like our second line stopped getting goals, though. Richards is no longer up there in assists, and was Lupul up there in goals? I can't remember. But yeah, they're not up there anymore. We are still third in the Eastern Conference, though. We're leading our division, but that's only because, yeah, the Montreal Canadiens only have 72. So we're up there, but we're only 6 points out of the playoff spot. Tampa Bay has 79 points, or 5 points out, sorry. But that's close. I mean, you could string some games together here and not do the greatest. So before the trade deadline, I will look at the players here. There's our timer. Yeah, this is perfect. I can look at everyone's stats, and you guys can see who's doing good, who's not doing the greatest. Player stats, season, NHL. I don't want to make any trades. I like our team, but maybe the third line, maybe Kadri is not the greatest back there. Kadri and Colburn are not the greatest back there. Okay, so, whoops, I switched teams. All right, so Giroux, Lupul, Getzlaf, Kessel, Kuhlman, and Richards. So they're all leading. We'll just go to points here. I'm pretty sure these guys are going to be leading. Yeah, the top 6. So the top 6 are Giroux, Getzlaf, Richards, Kessel, Lupul, Kuhlman, as I wanted them to be, okay? They all have more than 30 points, and they're all a plus player. So there's really nothing wrong with our first two lines. But here's where it gets interesting. Simmons is a plus 11, so there's nothing wrong with Simmons. He's doing fine. I'm just going to sort by forwards here. I don't want to get the defenseman in here. All right, but Kadri and Colburn. Now, Kadri and Colburn are plus players. There's no reason to take them out. No, they're having good seasons back there. No, they're having good seasons. I don't need to move those guys. Travis Moen, Steckel, and Armstrong. These guys are minus 16 and 10, but I mean that's always gonna happen. Just because they're grinders. I mean, it's gonna happen. I don't know. I don't know why our record is not the greatest. Our team seems fine. I think it might be James Reimer. Hang on, just go to edit lines here. There you go. Giroux, Getzlaf, Kessel. I mean, 89, 92, 87. That's fine. Kuhlman, Richards, Lupul. There's nothing wrong with those first two lines, all right? We're keeping those. But maybe, and our fourth line is fine as well. There's nothing wrong with our fourth line. Kadri, Colburn, Simmons. Maybe this is the one that needs to be changed a little bit. Maybe Kadri and Colburn aren't ready for a strong playoff push just yet. They were doing great in the beginning of the season. I mean, he's got the offensive awareness, but maybe the defensive awareness is... Nah, Colburn is fine. Colburn is fine, but maybe it's Kadri. Maybe it's Kadri. Defensively, is Kadri not available, do you think? Like, offensively, he's fine, but maybe defensively, he's holding us back just a little bit. Do you guys think that maybe I should send Kadri down to the minors for one more year? Because then he can come up as be a center for next year when we trade Brad Richards, or when we drop one of these players, and then go out and look for a third-line left winger, maybe an 85 overall, two-way forward guy who can fit into this spot instead of Kadri. That's what I'm thinking, boys. That's what I'm thinking. Defensively, we're fine. Phaneuf and Stahl, who are now 288s. So remember, I was asking for that 90. 288s is solid. And then an 86 and an 88. So our defensive core is solid. Our top four. Don't worry about these two guys. They will get better with time. We need to improve these guys. But Kadri, I think, will improve anyways. But I don't think he belongs on the third line with that low defensive rating. So I think I might want a third-line left winger. James Reimer is now an 86. Boys, I'm not going to go out for a superstar left goalie. Look, he's still fine. I mean, if we have another strong playoff run, he'll be up there. And I wouldn't mind keeping a low-salary goalie because of our trade that's coming up next year. So I at least want to keep him for one more year with the contract situation. So James Reimer, we're not trading for a goalie, okay? So in your comments, don't worry about a goalie. It's the third-line left wing spot. Should I send Kadri back down to the minors for one more year? He's got a bunch of experience already for the regular season. But should we send him down for one more year and trade for a third-line left winger spot? All right? To just round out our team for the playoff run. Okay? And if we should make that decision, who should we get? Which third-line left winger should we get? All right? I'll let you look at the teams that are doing worse, because the teams that are not in a playoff position, they're more likely to make a trade like that. So in the East, you got Tampa Bay, Buffalo, New Jersey, Pittsburgh, Ottawa, Winnipeg, Florida. And in the West, you got Anaheim, Minnesota, Detroit, LA, Colorado, Calgary, and Phoenix. So from those teams, boys, think of a player who could fit into the third line left wing role. Looking for someone 83 to an 85, okay? Nothing lower or nothing better than that. So let me know, boys. It's up to you.